He's a rock star with a passion for religion, an international celebrity who parties with politicians, a sex symbol who goes to bed with, the World Bank reports. This is the story of a man who's turned rock and roll on its head.
Bono's the ultimate rock star, but then he's the ultimate revolutionary.
And he's made millions in the process.
Half the thing is shagging and making money, you know.
We have unprecedented access to his inner circle of friends.
You've got it, spend it, share it for friends.
And music and pictures that have never been broadcast before.
It's no secret.
We've tracked him across the globe.
Thank you very much.
And for the first time reveal the secrets of Bono's millions. This is a rock and roll tale with a difference. It's a story of astonishing staying power, of a man whose band has stayed its course for more than a quarter of a century and is still cresting the waves on top of the music business. Bono has steered the band into spending millions on their spectacular stage shows, and they remain one of the richest groups around. Last year they earned more than any other artist.
Eclipse, you elevate my soul.
He has the ear of President's supermodel friends on his arm, but Bono still hangs out with the same intensely loyal inner circle of mates that he grew up with on the streets of Dublin when nobody had a penny.
So high,
Dublin in the 70s, no money, no rock venues, the last place you'd expect the biggest band in the world to be formed.
I've never seen a country, or and a particular city, change so much. There was no money at all around. I mean, the unemployment figures were grotesque.
But U2's unflinching desire to make music already burned. You're listening to an exclusive of the band's first ever demo, cut when they were just teenagers. Bono was brought up a Protestant in Ireland. The miracle is not so much that he became a millionaire rock star, but that he and the rest of the band got to meet at all in a classroom ahead of its time. The seeds of Bono's fortune were sown here in the classrooms of Mount Temple Comprehensive. It's here he met the rest of the band. The school was highly unusual. It allowed Catholics and Protestants to be educated together. Because the band was from both religions, if they hadn't come here, they probably wouldn't have met.
U2 could not have come out of any other school but Mount Temple. When you bring people from different backgrounds together, something new comes into being or comes about.
Even at school, the young Paul Hewson stood out as somebody who'd get what he wanted.
Oh, I mean, he had, as a kid, an incredible determination about him.
He always had an opinion, expressed it, and was very intense, always. If he was doing something, he had absolute concentration on what he was doing.
He was somebody that you noticed in school, you know. He was always a character within the school, and a big sort of character, and he was into music.
His bohemian friends had already given him his rock star title. They named him after a hearing aid shop.
Well, we had this idea when we were kids of finding a word that sounded the way somebody looked, and Bono looks like a Bono.
And this is the site of U2's first ever rooftop gig. That's the rooftop of the school boiler. And these are our exclusive pictures of that day.
First thing you have to understand is the school boiler house roof was very much out of bounds. Yeah, you were never allowed on it. And therefore, to actually have a gig on the boiler house was an amazing thing in itself.
The school siren sounded and all the youngsters poured out, and they were performing here, and of course parents had driven their cars into the yard, etc., and they stood and watched.
We were all gobsmacked. I was gobsmacked, and Bono sort of grabbed the mic and he was stamping forward and back. You know, I want you, show me the way. And the girls, all the kids in the school were screaming, and it was an amazing moment.
But it was just band practice. The schoolboys went after the talent scouts. Here's one of Bono's first brushes with the critics. The fact that U2 entered a local talent competition is carried in the evening press on March 20th, 1978. They're up against local bands Rockstar, Village and Harmony. Well, where are they now? And it's obviously big news because it's pages ahead of an article about a pot-bellied pig who'd mastered a scooter at a zoo in Germany. The judges weren't blown away, but they were getting there.
I remember the sound U2 got that night was pretty awful. Amplification in those days was pretty primitive. But there was something magical, not just in what they were doing, but the way they were doing it. And I remember Bono was an incredibly charismatic figure on stage.
U2 won the competition and a prize of £500. Bono was ecstatic. It meant the band could splash out on their very first set of tour bus wheels. So with his £125 cut of the prize winnings, Bono was way off millionaire status, of course, but even at this early stage he was determined not to get ripped off.
Bono would have little bits of paper, scraps of paper with questions about the music business, such as how do you make money from songwriting? How do songs get played on the radio? How do records get into shops? Those kind of very basic questions that they obviously realised that they needed to know these things if we're going to really make a career out of this business.
Well, the motivation in any band is to make money, if you can. You're still going to be in a band, but half the thing is shagging and making money, you know.
But Bono's lust for cash didn't help him when he was negotiating his early fees. In the 90s, U2 took £210 million gigging around the world. But in the early days, you could get into one of their concerts for just 50p. They played at the Dandelion Market before it was turned into this shopping mall. Back then, there were no elaborate stage props, no fancy costumes. Just the boys, their music, and Bono's tremendous mullet. Mullet aside, Bono wanted to impress. He knew his stage persona was the key to the band's appeal and ultimately financial success. He went to talk to a man who moved in mysterious ways and learned how to do that rock star crouch.
I basically taught Bono and the lads a little bit about the stage, what the stage is about and what the possibilities of the stage are. We say we go through one of their songs and I'd say, well, okay, what you're doing there, Bono, is you're coming out and you're going in and the band is starting up, and in the meantime, you know, everybody's had, like, you know, a sandwich and a cup of tea. So what you need to do is you need to be, when you're coming onto the stage, that you come onto the stage, you've got a presence, you're someone to be reckoned with. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Hang on a second, who are you in the back row? What's the story with you? You and back over here and over there, and maybe go like, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the song, and then back, and that's it. And then swing around when you finish the song, and back into the next song. Keep the whole thing in operation, and then stop.
This is Bono learning on the job. He mastered the stagecraft though. Producers who've worked with him say it's now second nature.
Put him in front of a microphone or a camera or on a stage, and that switch gets flicked, and bang.
He's the clumsiest person you will ever meet. But, you know, when he's on stage, he's like a tightrope walker. I mean, he's like a ballet dancer. He'll tiptoe across the speakers and you go, oh my God, he's going to fall. I mean, when he's not singing and he's off stage, he'll trip over and he's, you know.
Did they give you any money for all these lessons?
No, I mean, at that stage of the game, it was done on a kind of trust basis, you know, and they certainly didn't have any money. You know, it's not like they've plenty of it now, but they didn't have a brass fart in it.
Paul Slattery